Let's talk about emotional pyramid of needs. So kung si Maslow, merong hierarchy of needs, there's also this concept about emotional pyramid of needs. And how can we use this emotional pyramid of needs, especially in the current situation that we are in right now? The pandemic has been uh, we're on the second year now of the pandemic, and we're still in lockdown, ano? So iba-ibang klase ng lockdown na yung na-experience natin. So how can we be more emotionally agile during these times of crisis? So this one would be very helpful. First is that of gentle acceptance. It is what it is. So by showing up to a difficult situation and accepting it, we are freed up to move beyond it. So tanggapin, no? Tanggapin, yan yung realidad ng buhay natin ngayon. Acceptance is the prerequisite for positive change. So there can be no positive change if we will not be able to accept our current realities. The second one in the pyramid of emotional pyramid of needs is that of compassion. Tough emotions are expected. So meet yourself where you are. And this applies to others too. So you must be kind to yourself. These are not normal times. Tens of thousands of people are dying and losing their livelihoods. That's a reality. So recognize with kindness that you are trying to live your life and juggle competing demands in abnormal circumstances. Like what I would usually tell you during the counseling class that we had last sem, your reactions towards these particular situations are normal reactions because we are in a very abnormal situation. So give yourself a break and let go of perfectionism. Now is not the time for perfection, but for forgiveness and flexibility. So kung hindi ka naka-perfect sa exam, hindi mo nagawa ng maayos yung isang project, so but you did try your best in doing those projects, no? So don't persecute yourself for not being perfect, but be more forgiving and flexible. And this one I like, no? Also see if you can let go of judging others. They too are doing the best they can. Sometimes we're quick to judge. You don't have insight into the history of a woman, for example, who is hoarding food or what it is she has seen in her past. So when we see people panic buying and doing, so can we stop judging those people and start changing our perspective na baka may pinagdaanan siya in the past. Baka natatakot siya, no? So try to broaden our scope. Let's try to broaden our scope and our perspective. And this one I personally like, no? So wherever you go, leave a heart print. So instead of judging people, no? So let's learn to be more compassionate and leave a heart print on them. The next one is that of routine. Emotionally agile people knows the importance of routine. So create pockets of healthy routine and let go of what you cannot control. Let's remember that we cannot really control everything. Human beings need routine in order to maintain a sense of order. It's the glue that holds us together from day to day. Even the time, the sun rises and the sun sets. So may routine, may routine. So just like nature, tayo din, we need routine in our lives. So when we are faced with the unfamiliar, we tend to fill the gaps with fear. No wonder you hear students, no? I hear from the other professors na may estudyante sila na experiencing hallucinations and delusions already during these times, especially during the Holy Week break, because nawawala yung routine. No? So unfamiliar and then they're suddenly forced to stop. So, nagkakaroon ng mga realizations. All the fears that was once kept are now coming back or now haunting them. So, for example, you're sad, you tend to be sad, depressed, anxious. Routine can help you. So, develop routine. We are currently away from our routines, working from home, homeschooling, and living in close quarters with others. We are adapting to unprecedented circumstances. These are different times that we are in right now. This can be very scary, so let's fill in the gaps of the unknown with things that are comfortable, familiar, and connected with our lives. Healthy routines are essential, specifically those associated with sleep, exercise, and eating. So sometimes now we have enough time already because we cannot go out, but still matutulog pa rin tayo ng 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. not knowing the importance of sleep as part of our routine. So bakit ganoon? So parang we tend to parang kulang pa rin despite the time that was given because hindi ka na magko-commute, going to school and going back home. Parang kulang pa din. So our bodies and minds are so interconnected and our physical health is reflected in our psychological state. So try to ground yourself during the course of the day by incorporating experiences that are reminiscent of your normal lifestyle. Whether that means waking up at the time you normally would to commute to work or maintaining your family tradition of Friday movie night. The preservation of these small habits will give you comfort. Remember that it may not be possible to adhere to all aspects of your regular routine and approach this new reality with grace instead of rigidity. Emotionally rigid people would say na, wala nang saysay mabuhay kasi hindi ko na nagagawa yung mga routine na dati kong ginagawa. Hindi na ako nakakalabas with my friends and all. But emotionally agile people would accept realities as they are. It is what it is. Another one is that of connection. Another level in the emotional pyramid of needs is that of connection. Social distancing is not equal to emotional distancing. So we should, especially during these times, we should nurture our relationships, whether it would be with friends, with family, or with loved ones. It's important to note that social distancing is really physical distancing. Connection is so important now more than ever. Even though you cannot be in someone's physical presence, you can continue to nourish your relationships, especially if you're feeling lonely or you need that support. Also, if safe, make sure to hug your parents, your loved ones, boyfriend, girlfriends, and your partner. And put down your phone and laugh with your family. Play games and do puzzles. So this will help nurture your relationships. Another level in the emotional pyramid of need after connection is that of courage. Research now shows that the radical acceptance of all our emotions, even the messy, difficult ones, is the cornerstone to resilience, thriving, and true authentic happiness. But courage is more than just the acceptance of emotions. Our emotions are data that tells us what we're missing in our lives. For example, si Susan David shared na sometimes she feels guilty because she loves to travel. She loves to give talks, different parts of the world. So she would travel and see different places. But at the same time, merong guilt feeling kasi maiiwanan niya yung mga anak niya. Now, emotionally rigid people would think na that guilt feeling is not pleasant, so it should be set aside. Hindi kailangan yung emotions na yon. But emotionally agile people, according to Susan David, and according to her personal experience, when she started looking at the meaning of guilt, or ano ba yung sinasabi nung guilt yun sa kanya, then nagkakaroon siya ng panibagong perspective. And she said that, for example, yung guilt na yon might be missing real connections with her child. So yung guilt feeling na yon, gusto pa lang mag-connect gusto mo palang mag-connect more with your children or with your partner. So yun yung sinasabi ng emotions na yun. So for example, another one is grief is love looking for its home. When we grieve the loss of our loved ones because of the pandemic or other circumstances, namatayan tayo and all, so it's really love looking for its home, reminding us of our special times. So slow down and face into your difficult emotions with courage. What you find there will signpost to you how to make better decisions and take values-based actions. Again, unless we can feel, we cannot heal. So it takes a lot of courage to feel, to really look into that emotions, to that thinking patterns. Because unless we can feel, it's very difficult to heal. So another is reset. When this is over, and it will be, baka hindi ngayong taon, but it will be over, which parts of normal no longer seems useful to you? Let's ask this question. What priorities did you once have that no longer seem important? What parts of normal do you not want to rush back to? Gather your data, keep a journal, and reflect on what you learn about yourself. This information is valuable, and it will guide us as we move forward. This is also the time for reflection, and I hope in our second year in the pandemic, sana nakapag self-reflect man lang tayo on what is happening around us, or ano bang ibig sabihin ng nangyayari ng pandemic? Meron bang katuturan itong mga nangyayari sa atin? So a time of crisis is also a time for reflection. Pag may pinagdadaanan kang krisis sa buhay, this one is a collective crisis because it's a pandemic. We are all going through this crisis. But any crisis in our lives, kapag may crisis, it's also a time for reflection, a time for self-reflection. For example, in the pandemic, the coronavirus does not discriminate. This is one of the things that we can learn from the pandemic. Either you're lalaki, babae, you're white or black, poor, rich, or Asian, hindi ka exempted. So you are vulnerable towards the virus, the coronavirus. Another thing that we can learn is that one sneeze could change the world. Another one is we need to enjoy the slow pleasures of life. The pandemic did not show us, but forced us to slow down our lives. And I hope that in this slowing down, we are enjoying the small and slow pleasures of what life is offering us. Ironically, the COVID-19 has also done some significant good. For example, in the environment, we see a lot of reports. Our environment is recuperating and recovering because people stop moving. There is power in unity. This is one thing that we can learn from this pandemic. We can help each other, and we are more strong. We are stronger if we are united. Another one is that greed and selfishness are rampant. Madami tayong naririnig about greediness, about selfishness all around us or everywhere. But remember that love and compassion can go viral too. Recently, I'm so happy seeing yung mga community pantry. It started with Maginhawa Community Pantry. And then ngayon, nandun na rin sa Pino Valley and other areas. I've seen Pasig also. Meron na din sa Pasig ng mga community pantry. So, um, kahit may greediness and may selfishness, meron pa ding love and compassion na nagva-viral and is still everywhere. No, love is compassion. Love and compassion is present. So this summarizes our experience of this pandemic. Life has its way of painting colors out of the ashes. There are good things in the middle of chaos and confusion because God never fails to make surprises when we think all is amiss. Or life never fails to make surprises when we think all is amiss. Lastly, in the emotional pyramid of needs is the concept of wisdom. Life's beauty is inseparable from its fragility. So again, hindi natin pwedeng i-separate yung pagiging fragile ng buhay sa kagandahan ng buhay. We are young until we are not. We walk down the street sexy until one day we realize that we are unseen. We are healthy until a diagnosis brings us to our knees. The only certainty is uncertainty, and once we realize this as truth, the healthier and more authentically happier we will be. It's normal to be scared. Courage is not an absence of fear. Courage is fear walking. So let me summarize the concept of emotional agility and the concept of what we are experiencing right now to this quote. And it says, "May the flowers remind us why the rain was so necessary." So thank you, and let me end there.